welcome to Let's Be Perfectly Queer.
A queer podcast creating space to talk about all things queer.
My name is Archie.
And I'm Katie.
And we are your hosts.
Questions of how you identify, seeking answers to clarify. Whether you're queen
or somewhere in between, let's be perfectly queer.
And we're back.
We are. And on today's episode, we are talking about the secret gay language called
Polari. Have you heard about it? Because I don't think anyone would have. Maybe people would. I mean, if you're in show business, maybe.
That is very
true. In old theatre days gone past, you might have heard about it, but it's very cool. And it's something that I personally hadn't heard about, but was very interested in, and then thought I could learn it. And guess what? I haven't.
No.
Disappointing, guys. Disappointing. But if you do, and if you do pick up anything on this episode, pop it on our Instagram, send us a message and be like, speak to us in Polari. And I will be well impressed, even if it probably isn't Polari. I will look it up. I'll do my research.
But before we get into this episode, we have some new listeners in Polari. I don't know how to say it. P-O-R-I-R-U-A. Polari.
Ooh.
Wellington region. How would you say that? Is that from New Zealand?
Give me a second. I'm going to have a look.
Pororua.
Wellington. As in Wellington, New Zealand.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
I think so.
Someone tell us how you say that.
Yes, someone please let us know how you say that. We have new listeners in Dresden Mills, Maine, Washington, Sunderland, and Pflugerville, Texas.
I really hope that's how you say it.
I have no idea. I really should learn how to say it before I actually say it.
I think it's beautiful, and I think that people can correct us because they love us. And please do. Tell us where you're from and how to pronounce it, because both of us are neurodivergent and we need a little bit of assistance sometimes.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Not going to get into any news today because we're going to go straight into the Polari. But before we do that, we've just come back from holidays in Japan. Mm-hmm. And one thing that I just want to mention, which I really saw in Japan and which is really, really lovely, is the freedom of gender expression.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, just in walking around in the city in Tokyo, a lot of people were wearing things that you typically wouldn't see in all societies, and things that were typically might have been reserved for feminine presenting people in places like Australia or the US or UK were being worn and being used by men, which I loved. You know, they're handbaggy kind of things that you wouldn't really see a lot of men in Australia use. All the men in Japan are using that. And as well, looking at Disney, no one is scared to wear the mini ears with the big bow if they aren't female presenting. It does not matter. And I really love that about Japan. And that's something that I really noticed and I took away from is the freedom of gender expression, and nobody batted an eye and nobody cared.
Yeah. I really like the embracing of the androgyny, and that it, like you're saying, you don't have to have clothings don't have the stereotypes that they do around in the Western world. It's beautiful. And it's actually, there's this childish joy with it, seeing people just embracing and wearing what they want to wear. I loved that. It was gorgeous. I actually was a bit envious, I've got to say, walking past these people and being like, oh, damn, that style.
Yeah, even Japan, I was a bit more creative with what I was wearing because I knew that nobody would care. Where living in somewhere like Perth, people judge based on what you look like because, you know, you're wearing something a bit different and out there. And so I really love the fact that I could try different outfits and do something that I wouldn't necessarily always do here in Perth.
That's true. I feel like we always wait for fringe to come around and then we're like, oh, get out your dress. Get out your fancy dress is what I was going to say.
Yeah.
But then I was just like, yeah, anyway.
After all that.
I don't know where to go with that.
After all that, should we just get into today's episode?
Let's do it.
On today's episode, we're going back in time. Have you heard of Polari?
No.
So if you've ever talked about drag, camp, or butchers, you actually know some words from Polari. It's a secret language once used predominantly by gay men and drag queens across the UK between the 1920s and the 1960s.
I'm so intrigued.
Yeah, so on this episode, we're unpacking this hidden language and exploring its roots.
So is it kind of like, is it egg language or whatever people speak?
What's an egg language?
I don't know. Or pig Latin. You know how people say, in Australia it's pig Latin, in America it's something else, or the UK it's something else.
But that is it's a very simple simplified explanation of what it is.
I feel
Yeah.
personally
No,
attacked.
No, I just mean there's a lot more to it.
Okay, cool. I mean, in essence, that was quite a short period of time as well. Like, that's 40 years
Mhm.
in which the language, I bet somebody was just like, slay. And then they were like, it's like Gen Alpha.
No, not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. You're on a completely different track.
Tell me about it.
So what exactly is Polari? It is spelt Polari, so I don't even know if I'm saying that correctly. And that is a more recent spelling to the language. In the past, it was also known by a variety of similar spellings, and I'll put those different spellings into the show notes so that people can have a look at that as well. And so it was a gay slang language that became popular in the UK when homosexuality was illegal. So during this time, gay men found secret ways to communicate with each other without anyone else understanding what they were talking about. It allowed people to communicate without outing themselves, especially in public.
Right. So it's more like the enigma and a code.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. It is mainly a collection of words that have come from a variety of sources, including rhyming slang, back slang, Italian, French, lingua franca, American Air Force slang, drug user slang, and cant, which is an even older form of slang used by criminals.
When you said can't, I can't.
You can't? You can't?
I literally was just like, do you mean no?
It's just C-A-N-T, but I don't think it's cant, unless it's cant. I just thought cant would sound better. Who knows?
Oh, you're so like...
I could be completely wrong.
I'm being like fancy, but I couldn't remember the word fancy, so I was just like hoity-toitering my shoulders, you know?
Yeah, sure. But it is most strongly linked to an older form of slang called Polari that was used by travelling entertainers, beggars, and market stall holders.
Mm.
And according to Paul Baker of Lancaster University, there are approximately 500 terms and words in Polari, but most people who spoke the language didn't know all of them themselves.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And because it was a secret and informal form of communication, it was not written down or recorded anywhere.
Yeah.
Because no one really owned the language, there were minimal standards to the language as well, which meant there's also very little agreement on how things were spelt and pronunciations or even meanings of the many of the words. And so I did find it a little bit hard when I was researching and when I'd find a Polari word and then there'd be 3 or 4 different explanations for the same word of what it meant. So when I've got a list later on, but I've kind of collated what the majority of them kind of said that's the meaning of that Polari word, if that makes sense.
Other words, is there like certain themes to the words?
Yes and no.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
I didn't find all 500, so maybe there is. Some words were spoken as if they were spelled backwards, like ikaf, which is for face. Although, to make it more complicated, ikaf was shortened to eek, which is E-K-E, or eek in E-E-K. So it was cheeky, camp, theatrical, and a lifeline in times of criminalisation. But you can see why I had a hard time trying to collate some of the stuff when it was, if the people who spoke the language have very little agreement on the spellings and meanings, then, you know, it can get quite misconstrued and
you know
confusing.
How, like, in the UK, they have the rhyming slang?
Yeah, well, that's what it is,
Yeah.
rhyming slang, yeah.
Yeah. That's why I was like, it sounds like the Cockney rhyming slang where it's like one word and then it goes into another word and then that word's shortened and then that's what it means at the end of the day.
Possibly. They did say that the rhyming slang had some influence on Polari itself.
So great. I love the Cockney language.
Some speakers developed new words in their own social groups or ad-libbed it to make it even more difficult to understand. For some, it was just a collection of a few slang words, but for those who were very good at it, it actually resembled a proper language. And in 2010, Cambridge University labelled Polari as an endangered language. So here's an example. How bona vada your dolly old ek? What do you think that could roughly translate to?
How beautiful your face is.
Close. You're actually a lot better. You did a lot better than I thought you were going to. Let's be completely honest. I've heard you try to learn languages.
Excuse me. I'm very good. I don't know any other languages apart from English. I've tried very hard on many languages. But anyway.
So the translation is nice to see your pretty old face.
Yeah, because Bonnie is
Bona.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, but it would have been Bona as shortened by Bonnie, and that's pretty in Scottish.
Mm-hmm. Bonita is like pretty in like Spanish.
Is it?
I think it's like, yeah, bonita. I think so. Or Italian, like one of those languages, yeah.
That just reminds me of like, I feel bonita.
Yeah. The quote was actually taken from a popular radio comedy program in the 1960s called Round the Horn, which featured a pair of camp characters called Julian and Sandy. And they were played by Hugh Paddock and Kenneth Williams.
So that could have been us.
It could have been us.
We could be doing this. We need to bring the language back. The only problem is we would alienate everybody because nobody knows the language, but it would bring it back from being endangered.
That's true. So who used it? It was mainly used by gay men and drag queens, but was also used by lesbians, theatre people, sex workers, and sea queens. So sea queens were gay men in the Merchant Navy.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I could see your face. You're like,
I was like, what? This sounds like a majestic creature.
yeah, how great. What a great name. Heterosexual people who were also connected to the theatre also used it, and there are numerous cases of gay men teaching it to their straight friends. It is still used in a more limited way in theatrical circles or among older gay men.
Have you ever heard of any of the words?
Yes.
Oh, really?
And we're going to...
Can't wait.
Well, we already heard some of them at the start.
Yeah. That was like, what? Like 5 words? Come on now.
It has even been in a John Pertwee episode of Doctor Who, The Carnival of Monsters.
Really?
Yeah, apparently.
I'm going to have to go back and watch that.
I knew you were going to say that. As soon as I read that and found that information, I was like, oh, Katie's going to want to go back and watch that and work that out for herself.
I love Doctor Who so much, and I fucking love that because the lore in Doctor Who is so long and so creative. But I also love how inclusive Doctor Who is generally. And I love the fact that, like, because they've got many writers, I love the fact that one of their writers was like, you know what? We're using this language. Bloody brilliant.
So where did it originate?
UK.
As mentioned briefly before, Polari didn't just pop out of nowhere. It's believed to have evolved from Polari, a kind of cant slang used among travelling entertainers, fairground workers, sailors, and sex workers, groups who often lived on the fringes of society. As queer folks often worked in these spaces, the theatre, cabarets, etc., they adopted and adapted the language. Words were swapped, twisted, and repurposed, and Polari became a way to spot your people without getting spotted by authorities.
Oh, I love that so much.
Yeah. It was mainly used in the 1920s and 1960s and generally in places where gay men worked or congregated. Homosexuality was criminalised in Britain until 1967, and Polari was a way to stay safe and be openly queer at the time. It was especially big in London. You've got a lot of the theatres there in London, and you've got the chorus boys in the West End and all that kind of thing, and you had sex workers around Piccadilly and performers in the East End, so definitely was a larger place where the language congregated, and you could even hear it whispered in the underground, apparently.
Oh, wow.
So the secret slang, it was a way for queer people to chat safely in public, like the underground, and outsiders who were listening in wouldn't really be able to catch on. They might think it's some different language and so on, and sometimes it was the only way to name things that didn't even exist in mainstream language, especially when it came to sex, identity, and queer life. It wasn't just about safety, though. It was playful, cheeky, and full of camp humour. You could gossip, flirt, or even cruise, all while under the radar. It also helped people feel like they belonged, like they were part of this hidden queer world, and also a way of initiating people into the gay or theatre subculture. So backstage dancers were called wallopers, and singers were called voces. Another popular place to have heard it would be in the cabins of the crew of glamorous cruise liners. Latties on the water, which I'm not sure what that meant, but I think it was like, that's what they called themselves maybe. In the 50s and 60s, many gay men joined the Merchant Navy as stewards or waiters. For many, it was a way to escape the oppression and harsh reality of life back home. On board, they found freedom, and they could camp it up, put on drag shows, and just be themselves. They called each other girls or queens, and gave each other camp names like the Black Widow, Scotch Flo, or Lana Turner. Sometimes the names were a bit cheeky, with just enough sass to keep people in their place. And it wasn't unusual for some of them to have flings with the butch straight blokes on board. By the 1960s, Polari started making a comeback. A group called the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. Have you ever heard of them?
No, but what a great name.
So think fabulous male nuns in full drag.
Oh, yes.
So they began using Polari in their ceremonies. The Sisters are more than just camp. They're a political group known for their charitable protest and street performance movement that use drag and religious imagery. As time went on, people started rediscovering Polari, not just in queer circles, but in academia too. One researcher made it the focus of his PhD in the late 90s. Everyone's Polari vocabulary was a bit different, but there are about 20 core words that almost everyone knew out of the roughly 500. Things like naff, bona, and vada, but beyond that, there was a much bigger fringe set of words, and most people only picked up a handful of those. It really depended on where you lived, who you hung out with, and how deep you were in the scene. Polari wasn't a fixed language, it was constantly shifting, playful, and personal. You ready to look at some of those words?
Yes, I can't wait.
I'm going to break down some of the words, and I want to see how many you have heard of before and what you think the definition is.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Bona.
Bona. So bona would be beautiful.
Good, attractive, beautiful,
Yeah.
that all fits in. Vada.
You said that was like singer or something.
No, that was voces.
Oh, vada. Vada. I feel like that's woman.
It's to look at.
Oh,
Yeah, so it's from Italian guardare, Guardare,
okay.
Eek,
Face.
yep, from Cockney rhyming slang.
Yeah.
Latte.
Like a boy.
See, that's what I thought, but no, it's actually house or room.
Oh,
So maybe like house on the water, maybe that's what latte or on the water, so it's
interesting.
room on the water. Omi, O-M-I.
O-M-I. Somehow I feel like that's an older woman, but that would not make any sense.
It's men.
Oh, okay.
How about trade?
Trade. That just sounds like your job. But I don't know.
A sexual partner?
As in, like, how
I don't know.
is that a verb? Is that a noun?
I don't know.
I'm so confused. I'm literally like, okay, at the beginning of this episode, I'm like, great, new language, we'll learn it together, it'll be grand. And now I'm like, I don't understand.
What about Ria?
Ria.
R-I-A-H.
No idea.
What is it spelled backwards?
I don't even remember the letters you told me.
R-I-A-H. So if you write it down and look at it backwards.
R-I-A-H. Oh, it's fucking hair.
What about zhoosh?
Like zhoosh.
Yeah, zhoosh.
Yeah, you're just zhooshing something else up.
Yeah, to style or fluff up.
Yeah. Have you ever seen how zhoosh is spelt?
Yeah, I've got it right in front of me.
Oh, yeah, fair. Anyway, I've never seen it spelt before because
Yeah.
you know how you think, oh, I'll just zhuzh my hair up a little bit. I'm not sure. Americans, do you have this word as well, to zhuzh?
Well, they have to because it's been on Queer Eye.
Yeah. But maybe it's another thing. I wonder if people who aren't in the creative fields, whether they know the word zhuzh. I count hairdressers as creative fields.
Yeah.
I don't know. I saw the word zhuzh and I'm like, I never would have. I mean, it makes sense to spell it like that. I also wonder, because we talk about this being very UK based.
Yes.
And I understand because you had the West End and there's a lot of theatre, and I wonder if this translated across to America because it's based in the UK around the West End. A lot of people would have travelled. Like, even in that time, you still have creatives travelling between different countries. So I wonder, even though this sounds very based in the UK, I wonder if some of this translated across to America.
Maybe a little bit. Some of these words are a bit more that what we'd use here in Australia, which makes sense because of our massive UK influence.
What do you mean by that?
So looking at some of these words, we use them in Australia.
Which words?
We'll get to them.
Oh.
So we haven't used all of them yet. But, like naff. We've used naff before.
What does naff mean?
Oh, I miss naff. Tacky, uncool, tasteless. No, that's a bit naff. Have you never used that before?
I've never used it, and I thought that only really came around recently.
No, I've been using it for years.
As in, like, when you grew up or when you came down to Perth?
No, grew up. Yeah, that's a bit naff.
I see. I don't know. I'd never really heard of that.
Could be because we did have a few teachers who were British.
Yeah.
And they did come from the theatre scene and that kind of stuff. So that might have played an influence on it.
I think I've only heard it when we've had our friends who are from the UK.
Possibly. And that's probably why I knew it, because I had a drama teacher from the UK and he used that kind of language, that very theatrical language. So, yeah, I always knew about naff.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Tell me some other words.
Camp.
Yeah. I mean, camp is just a general word, isn't it?
But it came from Polari.
Ah.
So, you know what camp means. It is effeminate, outrageous, flamboyant, or exaggerated.
Again, a very actual queer UK word as well.
Yeah. Slap.
To slap a face on.
So makeup. Yeah.
Yeah.
Drag.
Oh.
Yeah, so clothing that is usually not what you're expected to wear.
Yep.
Fruit, when used for a term for a gay man.
Because we use fruity. It was, it's derogatory now, but people used to be called fruity.
Yeah, so it refers to a feminine guy.
It's so funny because if you actually think about someone being called fruity, I'm like, what, like an orange? Like, what is it? What is?
Yeah, it doesn't really make sense.
Yeah.
Lally.
Or like a doolally.
A doolally? What's a doolally?
Well, like being silly is like a doolally.
It's actually leg.
Oh.
The dilly.
The dilly. Penis.
Great guess. No. Piccadilly Circus, a popular hangout for male sex workers in London.
Oh.
The phrase gardy-loo.
Gardy-loo. Police.
I can see where you got that from, but its meanings beware is derived from the French garde-le, beware the water. So it's like, kind of like be careful, yeah.
Did you know that the Garda, is it in Wales or is it in Ireland? Is what, I think it's in Wales, is what they call the police.
Oh, so then that would make sense.
Yeah.
Ajax or Ajax?
I'm just like spray and wipe.
Yeah, no, that's what I thought. For those who don't know who's listening, it's Ajax Spray and Wipe is one of our cleaning sprays.
Products.
It's a brand for one of our cleaning products here.
And I literally am just like, the theme tune is in my head now.
Means next to. Bevy, That's a very thing.
Beveragino.
Yeah, bevy, so it's a drink. That's what we use in Australia. Butch.
I mean, that's somebody who's a masculine lesbian.
Yep. BMQ.
I don't know.
Black market queen, which is a closeted gay man, especially in the merchant navy.
Oh, black market. I love that. A black market queen.
Yeah, BMQ.
Yeah.
Dish.
Oh, someone who's really hot.
An anus or a bum.
What the
And TB.
I still haven't gone past dish. Why?
There's a lot I couldn't say on the podcast, so I had to cut a lot out.
Because it's not a full meal, it's just a dish.
TBH.
To be honest.
It's actually to be had.
Oh, like
Yeah.
sexually?
Yeah. Because remember, a lot of this was a lot of the stuff that was able to talk about things that...
Come bring your dish over here.
Anyway. Yeah, so that's some of the words, because there are 500, and those are the ones that I was like, oh yeah, these ones I can say on the podcast. And some of them, they were just really did not make sense to me, and so I wasn't really 100% sure about sharing that, because I wasn't sure about the validity. Where these ones did come up a few times, where some other ones only came up once or twice.
Shame.
So, you okay?
Yes.
You're not going to get over dish, are you?
No.
So next time we're out at dinner with friends, you're like, hey, do you want to pass me your dish?
Yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be really, really good. And I'll just be like, hey, do you know Polari? And they'll be like, no. And I'll be like, keep that to yourself then.
All right, but what happened to Polari?
Well, evidently it got too confusing when you went out to restaurants.
It wasn't that funny.
It's the fact that it was nothing, but not even that. It was anus. And you just said it so nonchalantly. Anyway, I'm good. We're back.
Good. So when homosexuality was decriminalised in 1967, queer people didn't need to rely on secret speech as much anymore. Some saw it as a part of a pastime filled with shame and secrecy. Others just stopped using it as mainstream society opened up and caught up. In early 1970s, the gay liberation movement wanted to break away from camp stereotypes, and Polari, with all its flamboyance and innuendo, started to feel outdated. It was also a very British thing. As American culture began to influence the UK queer scene more in the 70s and 80s, Polari became less used, and some younger generations actually found it outdated and classist. So by the 1980s, it was mostly fading out, though a few words stuck around. Even today, people are divided on it. Some see it as silly or too feminine. Others think it should be revived and celebrated. And some feel it's a fascinating part of queer history worth remembering, but not necessarily something we need to bring back into our everyday use.
Yeah. There's such interesting takes on it. How do you feel?
I don't really feel much of it. I'm like, it's a language, and if people want to bring it back for themselves, they can. I probably wouldn't use it, but if people want to do it, and especially in places like the UK and America right now, if they would feel safer by using Polari, then go for it. But I think it all depends on the circumstances where people are situated, etc.
I agree with you. I think it has a place in the world, and there will always be times where people need to be secret about themselves, unfortunately. It just so happens that we're in this time again for queer people, and that if this perpetuates communication and community, I think that that's really beautiful.
Yeah.
And plus it's just kind of funny and silly and jovial. And as long as it's not meant in, like, you know how when you're kids and someone learns Pig Latin, it's very
Pig Latin.
Yeah. And it's very exclusionary because you're like, I can learn this with my friends. You don't know this.
Yeah.
As long as it's not meant in that way, which I don't think it is.
Well, that's not how it was created. It's not the basis or origin of the language.
And I think there's definitely a place for that. And I think it's beautiful and it's jovial and it's very witty and UK based. Yeah. And I think it's funny. I really like it.
But is it still used now? Not really. Since the 1980s, Polari hasn't exactly made a full comeback, but it's definitely popped up here and there. You can hear it in films like Love is the Devil and Velvet Goldmine, or in music like Morrissey's Piccadilly Polari. Some gay-owned businesses have even named themselves after Polari words like bona or vada. There was even an online magazine called Polari and a coffee shop called the Polari Lounge. Some older or middle-aged gay men have kept using it privately, especially in close-knit circles or specific clubs. It's also shown up in art exhibits, theatre revivals, academic research, even a literary salon in London named Polari, where queer authors share their work. The language never really came back like it did in the 1920s and 1960s, but it's more people have found an interest in learning about the secret gay language, and they wanted to find out more about it, but they're not speaking it every day.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's the thing at the moment is that we're looking more into queer history, aren't we?
Yeah.
And seeing what's happened and what we can learn and how we can empower ourselves from our history. And this has just come up as one of the things, isn't it?
Yeah. And as we keep pushing for queer rights around the world, revisiting languages like Polari is a way to stay connected to our roots and understand our history. And it's a reminder that we've always found ways to survive and to thrive, even when the world tries to silence us.
Absolutely.
Vada that bona polone with the zhoosh ria,
And get that dish over here.
which means check out that stylish girl with the fabulous hair. All right, Omies and Polonies and everyone outside and in between, that's all for today's episode on Polari, the secret gay language. I will put a whole bunch of links and resources in the show notes if you would like to go into a deep dive of the language. And hope you had fun and you enjoyed this episode.
If you're listening on Spotify or like Instagram or anything, I'm sure we'll have something else up. Pop what your favourite Polari word was, because I know mine and I would love
Dish,
to hear. It's going to stay. Do you know when you're naughty in school and like you only absorb things that make you laugh? This is the one thing I've gotten. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
It was a great episode, but really, I'm like, this is what I've learnt.
It's fine. I went through all the history and all you remember is dish.
I'm a 12-year-old boy.
Apparently. So thank you for listening and getting all the way to the end of the episode. And if you did like this episode,
Don't forget to rate, review and subscribe. And if you love us, or even if you just enjoy this episode, give us a 5-star rating. We really just want to get out there to more people, especially with how the world is at the moment. We just want to share a little bit of joy.
yeah, and I hope you had fun with us and learnt some Polari. And until next time, I hope that we have been
Perfectly queer.
Let's be perfectly queer.
Dish.